we've now been consolidating for closing in on 2 years, right? So upwards 2 years, pullback, consolidation for 2 years. This pattern played out perfectly in the 1970s.
That scenario that you just described, we're speaking today, a day before the CPI data is supposed to come out tomorrow. What are you expecting inflation to be for the next reading, and how would the Fed respond?
Yeah, so for me, I'm expecting the CPI number to come in kind of right in line with expectations. We've seen the 10-year kind of bubble up against the 2% level, just shy of it. I think we do touch the 2% in the next week, but I'm not really looking for a CPI print that's going to freak the markets out tomorrow. I still think it's going to be generally in line. The markets are expecting a really bad number. Maybe it's even slightly better than the market anticipates. Now, going to the Federal Reserve, what I see, the game plan, the forecast, what I have is that the Fed is going to continue to tighten, tapering fully, raising rates by maybe March, April, May, somewhere in there. And then what they're going to see is the economy starting to slow more and more. By the second half of the year, I think they only get 2 rate hikes in 2022. Then they start backing off. And if I'm right with the crypto 1-year cycle to the low, you actually could see by late this year, the Bitcoin low being put in, and then actually the buying could start in terms of longer term. And again, the idea is there that the Fed would then start to have to react to a weaker economy by loosening monetary policy again.
Okay.
Outside of even 2 or 3, 4 months, it could be below 20,000 on that retrace. So, I don't see it. It doesn't mean I'm right, of course. I've been wrong before, but I certainly am not expecting 100,000 this year.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, you are expecting gold to outperform Bitcoin. So let's finish this segment on gold. Gold's done pretty well this year compared to cryptocurrencies. I'm talking about the first few weeks of 2022. Is it still doing well, chart-wise?
Chart-wise, it's absolutely beautiful. The consolidation phase continues right here. It's stuck between this wedge pattern. I still am in the camp that it's going to break out. The more times you hit on a trend line, and you can see how many times we've hit on this trend line here, 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 and here, this is a weakening trend line. So what I do think it does, I don't know if it breaks out right away when it goes into it, but if we hit it again, I think you maybe get a small check back, and then the breakout can come, which will enable this to go possibly back to 2075, which was the high from 2020. Ultimately, I think this is just the beginning of a bigger breakout, and I really want to show this chart.
That yellow line was just hilarious. It was like I know that's not the right scale in terms of the timeline, but you just drew a straight vertical line upwards.
Yeah.
Let's clarify. You don't mean gold's going to vertically shoot upwards tomorrow?
No,
right?
No. And okay. Well, listen, maybe if Russia invades Ukraine, it'll do that, but that's maybe the one scenario where it does. But needless to say, charts don't go straight up, charts don't go straight down. But ultimately, when it breaks out, you would then anticipate a quicker move to the upside to that high, right? But let me show you this, right? So I've been analyzing, and I've talked about this with you before. You have the move from 2018, right, where it went from basically 1170 all the way up to about 2075. It took 2 years to go up that high. We've now been consolidating for closing in on 2 years, right? So upwards 2 years, pullback, consolidation for 2 years. This pattern played out perfectly in the 1970s. I'm going to show it to you guys right here. Bear with me as I do that. Let me go to the chart here. Let me see if I can get it up. All right, so here, check this out. So this is 1973, right here, 1973. You got the same move up that you saw from 2018 to 2020. From 2020 to where we are in 2022, and this occurred from 75 to 77. And then look at what happened to gold after that. And the reason I bring this to your attention is because this pattern is replicating currently, and same time frames, 2 years before the bigger breakout. And then it also replicates the inflation numbers that we're seeing now. So if that continues to play out, you could be on the verge of a mega spike in gold. Now, I'm not going to go out and say, gold was $100 here and went to 900. I don't think we're going up that many hundreds of percents. But is it possible for gold in the next 2 years after it breaks out to hit 5,000 or 4,000? Heck yeah, it is. I mean, that would barely be more than, just a little over a couple hundred, 100% and change. So I think people have to keep an eye on history. History is a great indicator of the probable outcome in the future.
All right. Excellent point. And I just want to point out that last year I was speaking to gold analysts. I don't think it was you, but other gold analysts I've had on the show. And I asked them this question. I asked them, look, Gold has seen periods of stagnation for many, many years. Case in point, after 2011, we had, back then it wasn't called a gold winter, but if we can make the same parallel as crypto winter, it was a gold winter in the sense that gold had the price stagnated for several years between 2012 and 2018 until it eventually rose back up like the charts did. And I asked them whether or not the rise to the highs in 2020 could be followed by the exact same pattern. Most everybody I've talked to said no, it's either going to keep rising where we're going to have a brief period of consolidation until it hits new all-time highs. Well, it's been 2 years now, Gareth, and so far I've been right. So
just one little point to kind of differentiate that. So if you go back from even 2000 to where we are now in 2000 and up till about 2018, 2019, 2020, inflation was always 2% or under, right? Or basically. True. You now have that one difference. And that's why I draw a parallel to the 70s, the mid 70s to mid 80s, is because if you look back, that's more like the period we're experiencing now with high inflation.
Right. So how long can this consolidation last? How much longer can we wait before gold hits a new all-time high is basically my question.
Yeah, so if you look at the 70s, right, and again, we kind of topped out on that move up in 75, and it was just basically you started to move up in late 76 into 77, so it was about a 2-year consolidation. So if we go back to the current gold chart here, let me do that now. The idea is that we topped out in August of 2020. So if you're expecting it to follow suit, it would be right around August of 2022, maybe just before that, where the big breakout above 2075 would occur.
All right, excellent. So do you still think gold is going to be the top performing asset, at least compared to cryptocurrencies this year?
I do, and to the stock market as well. I still am in the camp that gold is the best performer. By the way, it doesn't mean gold's going to be up 50%. I just think that Bitcoin and the stock market will probably be flat to negative, at least for the year.
All right, excellent. Well, we'll follow up on that and much more later when we have you back on. Thank you very much, Gareth.